He was one of Hollywood's most iconic leading men, an actor who brought strength, dignity, and gravitas to every role. From Ben-Hur to the Ten Commandments, Charlton Heston didn't just play heroes, he became them. But behind the silver screen charisma and thunderous voice was a fiercely private man, someone whose personal life remained largely a mystery, even as his career lit up the world. Now, decades after his most famous roles and nearly 20 years since his passing, the one person who knew him best is speaking out. At 63, his daughter has finally confirmed what we all suspected about Charlton Heston. For years, fans and insiders alike have whispered about the man behind the legend. Was Heston truly the stoic, larger-than-life figure he portrayed on screen, or was there something more complicated beneath that iconic exterior? His passionate activism, controversial statements, and guarded family life only fueled speculation. And now, after years of silence, his daughter has come forward with revelations that don't just shed light on her father, they reframe his entire legacy. What she says might surprise you, or it might confirm what you've always felt in your gut. Either way, this moment has been a long time coming. Let's dive into the story behind Charlton Heston, the man, the myth, and the truth only a daughter could tell. Charlton Heston was never just an actor, he was a symbol of Hollywood's golden age, of American masculinity, of moral conviction. But symbols are rarely simple, and the more we try to understand the legacy of Charlton Heston, the more we realize just how much of his story was hidden beneath the surface. Born John Charles Carter in 1923, he would rise to fame as Charlton Heston, a name now synonymous with epic storytelling. His on-screen presence was unmatched, commanding, noble, almost biblical in stature. But off-screen, he was intensely private. Interviews were rare. Public statements were often measured. He gave the world his performances, but not his soul. That was reserved for his family. Now, at 63 years old, his daughter, Fraser Heston's sister, Holly Ann, has begun speaking more openly about the man behind the myth. In recent conversations, she has offered not just anecdotes, but rare insights into her father's true character, confirming what so many fans have long suspected, that Charlton Heston was not the hard, unbending figure many imagined, but a deeply emotional, complex man who struggled as much with doubt as he did with duty. She recalls a father who was fiercely dedicated, but not to fame. Fame, she says, was something he endured, not something he chased. While he played kings and prophets on screen, at home he was quiet, introspective, even insecure. He doubted himself. He worried about being a good father, a good husband, and a good man in a time when so much was expected of him. One of the most striking things she revealed was how intensely her father protected his family's privacy. Fame was a reality, but not a priority. There were no extravagant Hollywood parties at the Heston household, no paparazzi-lured scandals. Instead, there were long walks, meaningful dinners, and deep conversations. He believed that real strength came from consistency, not attention. As a political figure, Heston became both celebrated and controversial. His work with the civil rights movement in the 1960s often surprises people who only remember his later advocacy for gun rights. But his daughter says this shift wasn't about contradiction, it was about consistency. He believed passionately in individual liberty, in personal responsibility, and in standing up for one's beliefs, even when it cost him. And it did cost him. Hollywood turned cold toward Heston in later years. Offers dwindled, but he never complained. He'd made peace with the price of authenticity. According to Holly, this commitment to principle was something he passed on at home. He told his children to be brave, even when it's easier to be liked. It's a lesson, she says, she didn't fully understand until she became a parent herself. She admits there were times when she found his opinions difficult, even old-fashioned. But looking back, She sees now that he was never trying to be right. He was trying to be real. Perhaps the most touching revelation came when she spoke of her father's battle with Alzheimer's in his final years. While the world knew him as a titan of strength, she saw the disease strip that exterior away. And yet, even in decline, there was grace. She described moments of unexpected tenderness when he would hold her hand silently for minutes at a time, or look at her as if trying to say something he no longer could. In those moments, she says, he was more human and more himself than ever. This quiet vulnerability is what she believes people missed when they tried to paint him with broad strokes. He wasn't just the booming voice of Moses or the grim survivor of the Omega Man. He was a father who doubted, a husband who tried, a man who wrestled with time, change, and his place in the world. One detail she shared resonated deeply. In the final years of his life, he would often sit in his study, surrounded by books, and read old letters from fans, not the flashy ones, but the ones from everyday people. Veterans, single mothers, struggling students, people who told him that his films gave them strength. Those letters, she says, moved him deeply. He never got over how much people cared, she revealed. He didn't think he deserved it. It's a powerful image, one that peels back the layers of myth and reveals the beating heart beneath the icon. The daughter of Charlton Heston, now 63, confirms what many have always believed but never heard said aloud: that greatness isn't found in the spotlight, but in the shadows of our lives. Where we love, where we try, and where we keep going, even when the applause fades. In an age when public personas are carefully curated and endlessly analyzed, it's rare to hear an honest account of a famous figure's private life, one that doesn't elevate or tear down, but simply tells the truth. And in this case, that truth is richer and more human than any performance Charlton Heston ever gave. Charlton Heston left behind a legacy of unforgettable roles and bold convictions, but perhaps his most enduring legacy is the love and perspective he left with his family. Thanks to his daughter's reflections, we now see a fuller picture of the man who inspired millions, not just as a legend, but as a father, a husband, and a deeply human soul. If you've ever admired Heston, maybe now you'll admire him not just for the roles he played, but for the man he truly was.